Hi, I'm Rachel. I'm a life coach and mentor with Creative Pathways Coaching. My website is at creativepathwayscoaching.com. The link is also in the description below. So there's a lot I want to cover in this video today, and if you haven't already, please subscribe down below, and while you're down there, like. It all helps to support my channel. So most of us want to share our life with someone, you know, a loving and fulfilling connection that helps us to evolve into the best person that we can be. It is human to feel that need to belong and be loved. And at least for most of us, at some point in our lives, we want to actually have a relationship. But why is it so hard to achieve? So in this series, and particularly at this point in the series, we're going to look at some of the issues that come up when you're dating and how to handle them. When you've started dating someone for a little while, so say in the last 6 months. So generally these issues are seen as red flags, and I'll talk about red flags a bit later on in the series, but they definitely are red flags to look out for. The terminology used for these issues can be really helpful because they provide a label. And basically, if there is a label for a certain behavior, for a certain dating behavior, that means you're not the only one experiencing it. Other people are experiencing it too. So let's get started. The first one is negging. Negging is a so-called flirting technique. It's a technique that's been taught by pickup artists and consists of low-grade insults that are sort of couched as compliments. So they're seen almost like a compliment, but there's a bit of a dig to them. It's designed to actually undermine the confidence of the pursued. So they're more amenable, they're more likely to take on the advances of the pursuer. So it's a way of bringing a person down to their level, so they're more likely to get that person into bed. As well, it's almost can be seen as a challenge. So if you're slightly insulting them, it can be a challenge for some people, and they're more likely to become interested. So information out there tends to highlight male examples, that it's mostly males that do it, but that's not necessarily so. So no matter what your gender identity, negging is emotional manipulation, which later leads to controlling behaviors. You're really attractive for a brunette. I usually go for blondes. You're very short. It's a good thing you're cute. I mention these examples because I've had them. I've had someone neg me with these examples. So signs of negging are those backhanded compliments, which are just not quite right. Criticism, general criticism. Comparing others to you is another one, definitely. Also as well, where you feel like you need to have their approval too. Like, yeah, if you find yourself needing their approval, there's a possibility that you might be being negged. The last one is that they laugh at you, not with you. So you are a bit of the butt of their jokes. Now, when I'm talking about negging here, I'm not talking it right at the start. Sometimes a little bit of negging right at the start is not too bad. But I'm saying negging if the negging continues. So if the negging after the first month, if they're still doing it, and particularly so if it starts to get worse. So how do you deal with this? Well, for me, in the past, I've negged back. And the response I've gotten has been one of two. I've had some guys actually be offended when I negged them back, and others saw it a bit of a challenge, and negging became part of the relationship dynamic. Not something that I would recommend, having been there overall. Negging as a part of your relationship and part of the dynamic of your relationship will tend to create an unhealthy dynamic in the relationship where there's a lot of criticism and a lot of power struggles. And what it can create and what it can actually do is undermine the self-confidence of one and sometimes even both parties. So instead, rather than negging them back, I would just pull them up for it. And this can lead to two possible scenarios. The first one is that they apologize, or they can tell you you're being a bit too sensitive. You know, they're only teasing. As you can tell, I've had that before. So in the first instance, if they apologize, accept their apology, but just watch out for it in the future. And if they do it again, pull them up again. Really, you are in charge of keeping your own boundaries and being in charge of what you tolerate and what you don't tolerate. And in the second instance, let them go. Number 2, cuffing. Okay, so I think this is a weird one. I've not experienced this one before, but I have seen it with friends and with clients, and it's usually the case in colder climates than mine. This is where someone gets together with you to keep warm during the colder climate, during winter. So I guess this is based on the fact that it's winter, it's colder, there's less social activity. As a result, there's less opportunity to meet someone else and to be dating a few people. So it's more advisable to get with someone to keep warm and have regular sex with. It would seem like a logical approach. Not the most romantic though. Some people might actually argue the practicality of it. Up to you. Number 3, love bombing. This is a manipulation technique that uses excessive adoration, gifts, to actually get the other person, the pursued, interested in them. While it may come across as sweet at first, there's an ulterior motive: control. So, examples of love bombing: excessive texts, excessive gifts, flowers, like far too early on in the relationship, maybe even before the first date, and definitely after the first date. But excessive texts, messages, texts at night before you go to bed, as soon as you wake up in the morning. Wanting to go away within the first week or so of first getting together. Wanting to meet your family and friends and wanting you to meet their family and friends within the first couple of weeks of getting together. Saying they love you too early, really referring to the connection that you guys have early on as love and as a relationship, when maybe you just would be defined as just seeing each other at that stage. Seeing you as, telling you that you're the best person that they've ever met when they actually don't really know you very well yet. Now, love bomber will also rush things as well. So they'll want to move in with you or you with them and think about kids, marriage, all this sort of stuff far too soon. If it feels a bit weird and full on, it's love bombing. Like, if it feels too good to be true, it's love bombing. And with this technique, the individuals that get sucked in are the ones that generally have low self-esteem and really flourish under the attention that's actually been given to them. And then suddenly the attention then stops. So once the relationship is cemented and they've got you, then suddenly the attention dramatically decreases, like dramatically overnight. That's when the proverbial shit hits the fan. So why is this such a bad thing? Well, this is a technique. It's a manipulation technique used by narcissists and abusers. And as I said before, after a while in the relationship, suddenly, without warning, the adoration stops. Then you notice the controlling behavior. So the attention stops, they've got you. You know, you're trapped. And then the controlling behaviors start. Then, of course, the adoration, the attention only comes back if you're upset or if you are threatened to leave. Then the attention behavior then begins again. And that's how it develops into abusive behavior. So identify the signs and get out early. Like, really. This is a serious one. The next one is fire dooring. Now this is when the effort of the relationship is one-sided. So one person, one partner of the relationship is putting the effort into the relationship, not the other. And this doesn't just happen at the start of a relationship too. It's something that can continue throughout the relationship or even start halfway through a relationship as well. So in a long-term relationship where all the affection, attention, all the effort is put in by one person, by one partner, not the other, that is still fire dooring. This can happen at the start. So when one person is leaving messages and texts with the other person, they're not getting back to them, and suddenly they turn up a day or so later for a booty call. So why would anybody want to be in a relationship where there's fire dooring? It's not as simple to A, identify, and B, step away from, in that there can be a level of challenge when that person plays hard to get, when they're not making an effort. So as a result, that challenge can be quite attractive to people. But it's just not a pleasant experience. It isn't, whether it's at the start or in the relationship, in a long-term relationship. It isn't pleasant. And usually the way to resolve this is to talk to your partner about it. If you really identify there's some firewalling going on, you can talk to your partner, or another way you can actually do this is to actually step away. So step away from some of the effort that you're putting into the relationship. So if you find that this is something that you're experiencing in a dating situation or a relationship, my suggestion is that you start to step away on your effort. Means you don't put in as much effort, and you wait to see if your partner or the person that you're seeing will start to put in some effort. I would also communicate this as well, to let them know that you're doing this because you've noticed that you're putting in all the effort into this relationship, into this connection. Now, if they happen to put into some effort, great, and look, encourage them with that. If they don't, then it's best to move on to greener pastures, perhaps. And the last one is creeping. Not to be confused with stalking people, whether on social media or physically, or hitting on drunk girls. Both are also very creepy. So this refers to someone who is in a relationship but actually having sex with someone else, then accusing their partner of flirting and cheating with other people. Perhaps a form of distraction so that their partner doesn't pick up on their behavior. Also, maybe it's a way to justify their own behavior. This aligns in with the concept of projection. This is a defense mechanism that people use unconsciously to deal with unpleasant or undesirable feelings or actions, behaviors. It involves projecting their undesirable feelings and behaviors onto someone else. This is instead of actually admitting these behaviors or desires or feelings. So basically, instead of admitting that they're banging someone else, they're accusing their partner of it instead. So if you guys like this video, please give it a like and subscribe down below to receive future content. I put a video out every week, every Wednesday. And if you've got any comments or feedback with regards to this video, please put it in the comments section below, as well as any suggestion for future content. And remember, you can book a coaching session with me either on my website, or you can email me to book a time. And I will catch you next week. Cheers. See ya.